But I kind of want to start from the very beginning at a young age. Something that's really inspirational for people to hear is that you survived being shot. And I thought that was something that was crazy that happened. But I want to know your perspective on that incident, how it shaped your life.
Well, it changed my life from a mindset perspective, in terms of not caring what people thought or said about you. Because before that even happened, trying to pursue the game of basketball at that size and hearing those negative words, about your height, it used to really affect me. It impacted me dramatically. I used to go home crying to my mom, letting her know how cruel the kids were to me on the basketball court, all because of my size. But after that dramatic experience happened, going through that trauma, again, my mindset changed. And then once I went back out there, I mean, those words didn't have the same impact. I mean, after going through what I just, endured, I felt like, words are the least of my worries. So let me just stay focused on me and just keep pursuing what I believe that, I want to do with my life, and not even care about what the people are saying about your height and all the negativity that came along with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's something that I think in life when bad things happen, they shape who you are. For some people, uh, they can leave them in a bad place, but for you, you took it and you went with it and made it your own, and you didn't let any negative things bother you in life. Well, some people, for them, it leaves them in a dark place. So I guess what would you say to people that I guess are stuck in a bad place that maybe need some motivational words?
And that is so true what you just mentioned too, because I was one of those kids, one of those individuals who was lacking the confidence, who didn't have belief in themselves, and until something traumatic happened to me for me to let down my guard. And I would say for those who are going through that, let down your guard, because you're the one that's in control. You give people that type of power over you because people always was dictate who you should or who you could be, but you're the only one to know who you want to be. So by being, self confident, more in tune with yourself, and I know that's very difficult to say and do, especially when you're at a low place in life. But the man upstairs, we always give it to him. That's a strong foundation to have, and he carries you through everything in life, and that's one of the main reasons why I was able to persevere through all my trials and tribulation, because I wasn't going at it alone. I had a man upstairs who really, I had faith and I had belief that he would carry me through any type of, difficult challenge that I may face. So I will always tell any individual, let your guard down, more start taking more credit who you are, and start really accepting who you are. Because once you start to accept you and embrace who you truly are, no one can touch you and no one can ever distract you from being on the journey that you set forth. And if you can get to that place, boy, I tell you, that's a great place to be.
That's amazing, man. And being the shortest NBA player in history must have come with some challenges, obviously. But can you share an instance from your career where your height actually worked to your advantage?
Well, I don't want to say would it work to my advantage, but I just use my height as what my skill set possessed. By being small, being close to the ground, close to the ball, having the understanding what the game is all about, the responsibility that the point guard has to do for his team in order to get them all and get them set up and in position. You know that if you can be a disruptor, if you have understanding of that aspect of the game, then you can be impactful. And I had all of that. I knew how to play defense, I knew how to play offense, and my size allowed me to get to certain places. But my skill set, my mind, the skill that I possess, allowed me to play the game at a high level by being a small player, knowing that I can do things where maybe some guys can't see you instantly because of your size, and you can take advantage of that maybe by stealing the basketball, getting to a place that they didn't realize that you was capable of getting to. So in that regard, I used it in that aspect of it, but it more came down to more your skill set.
Yeah, well, because I look at like a lot of basketball players that, they use dunking to their advantage, right? And most players are able to do that, but you didn't have to do that to become a great player. And it's like what you just said, you used your other skills to your advantage, what you already possess and made it your own. So I think that's also really interesting as well.
Well, yeah, well, I understood the game of basketball. Dunking is only one aspect of the game. Knowing the game from its whole entirety, that allows you to keep playing at a high level. And each position out there calls for responsibility. And one of the main responsibilities on the court is the point guard, that position, which is like an extension of a coach. He's the one orchestrating everything. Everybody's looking towards him to get everybody settled for them in order to be able to execute what they're trying to run. So having that understanding at that position and knowing the ins and out and how to play that position, even at a 5'3" type of individual, even though we had the coaches and the lead and people, everybody believing that the game of basketball was just only for bigger and taller players. And a prime example, having a guy like Magic Johnson, 6'9", playing a point guard position. So have to break down that type of barrier from coaches, from the game perspective, at a 5'3" to play that position. You had to be impactful. You had to change it in a way where it could be just compatible to a 6'9" guy that's running your program. So me having that knowledge and that understanding how to play both ends of the ball allowed me to play at the highest level for 14 blissful years.
Yeah, and you've gotten a lot of praise from many legends. We'll get into that too. But one person I want to talk about Vince Carter, because he said a very cool quote about you. And for everybody watching who doesn't know, he said, "We had a Muggsy Bogues rule. If you don't see him on the court, pick up the ball because that means he's right behind you and about to steal it." And I thought that's one of the most iconic things said about you because it's true. When you watch games and like past games when you played, it's so evident. Like you see like the incredible speed you had and your ability to just again know the game, know the court, know the plays, and you're able to intercept. And that's how you made your mark. I think that's one of the greatest quotes that I think really shapes who you are as a player.
Yeah, and it all came from the North Carolina University, coach Mr. Dean Smith, because playing against, in the ACC, and that it was a rule. If you didn't see him, just pick the ball up because he's behind you, he's going to steal it. And that's what Vince related to her. And that was, part of my makeup, a part of my, where I played the game. I'm always around. I'm always around the basketball, helping my teammates as well as, causing havoc for my opponent and just understanding the game. And that's why I was able to play it at that level as I was able to do it for so long because of the knowledge. It's the information. We have so many small guards try to play this game and big guards as well. But to be small, you got to be exceptional. You got to be able to know the game in and out and all to be able to continue to be impactful because, again, they always look at this game as a big man's game. And we have to always kind of keep them and remind us that this game is for whoever had the ability to play the game of basketball.
Yeah, well, one of the big guys that actually agrees with what you said is Michael Jordan. I want to show a clip to you and for everybody watching as well. I'll put the actual clip in a full screen, but just to show you something that really was really nice that he said about you, I want to show you quickly.
Think about Muggsy Bogues, 5'3" guy, played in the NBA. Quickest guy I've ever seen play the game of basketball, and he is epitome of what determination means. No matter how big you are, you can still play with the big guy. Did he ever block my shot? No.
But wait,
He said that.
But hold on a sec. There's one. He said at the end. So I'm not sure if you heard the whole thing, but at the end he was like, the kid was like, "Oh, did you block your shot?" And he goes, "No, right?" But then there's a clip I want to show everybody where you did block his shot. I want to just show that was really cool.
On the Charlotte Hornets, and the fans are not going to like this. Muggsy Bogues, look at him underneath Michael Jordan. The fans just now finding out that there's an illegal defense call, but Bogues came away with that ball, and it brought the crowd alive.
Like, just to...
Oh, man, MJ and I, we had so many battles and playing in college against one another as well as in the NBA. But, that goes to show, the respect that you have amongst your colleagues when you're out there playing. And for him to give me that type of roses, and I truly appreciate it because he understands the game. and he understands how hard it is to play on that level. But at the same time, for a guy my size to play with guys like them, like himself, and compete against them on that level. So he just, giving people knowledge of the game and giving them knowledge of what my mindset was in terms of not even falling in that little box that everybody wanted to put me in terms of being small, not capable. But again, we proved everybody wrong. But MJ, again, him saying that, and because of the game and how we played at the highest level, I mean, I truly appreciate that.
Yeah, like the stuff he says, he's the true, like you're the true definition of determination, right? And it's what you like. I see on all your posts, you put like hashtag heart over height, because that's what life's all about. It's not even about, like, you can use that quote for life in general. It's not even just about the game of basketball. I'll give you an example. Like, let's say someone wants to become a famous actor or musician. In order to become the best, you're gonna have to fail, which I'm sure you've been through some failures in life, and you learn from that. Everyone does. The greats, of course, go through that. And then you have to work really hard, and you have to have the heart, the determination, and the drive, because that's what separates the regular people, like the winners, from the not winners. I don't want to say losers, but you know what I mean. Yeah, the people that don't go for their dreams.
Because the heart is it, but the height is not just size. It's about a measure or where you're trying to accomplish, where you're trying to get to. Whatever that industry, whatever you're trying to pursue, we always have our heart in it. But the height of it seems to be, astronomical, where we feel like we can reach. So that's where we look at the heart over height, and what my terminology of it is in terms of heart over height, because, they always say I got a heart of a lion, which is true. My heart is big as just anyone. And I always believe no matter what, you should be able to figure it out in order to accomplish whatever that task is. If you put the right energy, the right action, and the right determination behind it, I believe you can solve whatever that solution is. And that's just my mindset, the way I think. And because I always feel like it's always something to be able to be figured out. And once you always get to that point, it's always, a measuring stick in order to be able to do it. So, it's a great thing in order to see someone reach their full potential, regardless of what anyone says about them.
Of course. Another thing I wanted to ask you about too, because Space Jam is one of my favorite movies, and it is the highest grossing basketball film ever, and it's become a pop culture icon. How do you feel about being a part of a movie that is so iconic, that has a lasting legacy?
I mean, I'm very honored to be part of it. I mean, it's not only just for the kids, it was a family type of movie. It was for the adults as well as for the kids. And we can all find some kind of, common ground throughout that movie. And we had so many different characters in the movie, Bill Murray, Larry Bird as well, and so many other characters. But it was such a fun time with Michael, being on the set. I mean, him coming back from, after he left the game and coming back, and believe it or not, unfortunately, I should say, we played them in the playoff during that season, during that summer before we got to the movie. And, it was nice to be able to be on set to talk about some things that happened. But I had surgery at the time. He was really, I mean, they had created this basketball court for him so he could be able to, start working out to get back in shape, because he was coming back. And I remember one day on the set, this was a funny one. We had a morning shoot, supposedly, and Larry Johnson decided to get his hair cut from one of the gentlemen that was on the set, who never cut an African-American hair before in his life. So long story short, he gave LJ one of these little bowl cuts where he wasn't too appreciative of the cut. So he decided he wasn't going to go on camera like looking like that. So we had to cancel the shoot. I had to bring someone in from LA to kind of give him a better fade, tighten it up, so we can now have our shoot later on that afternoon. But I mean, those are the things that went behind the scenes, playing cards in MJ's trailer and all that type of stuff. I mean, it was just a fun time making that movie and seeing him how he operated with those cameras, and now Looney Tunes not even being there. That was a treat to see.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like, you got to witness all that, right?
Yeah, yeah, we did. I mean, it was a fun time to go through. It was something to behind first time being behind the scene with all the camera angles and how they kind of, you know, do their cutting. They had actually I was on crutches, and one of the scenes they had me where I was just moving my shoulders like I was walking, but I was being pulled on. So I was saying, boy, welcome to Hollywood.
Oh, that's awesome, man. It's so cool. Also too, because I know you mentioned this in a past interview actually, and this is actually before the tragic passing of Kobe Bryant, but you actually wanted him to be in Space Jam 2 for the sequel originally when he was alive. What was that whole thing all about too? Did you actually like want to like what kind of movie did you want to see him be in for that Space Jam 2?
Well, I think Kobe he emulated MJ so much, and he was the second coming. And I think if they was going to do that type of version of a movie, then I felt like he would be that one to kind of be passed the torch in order to do it. But you know, who am I? Yes, I saw. I guess LeBron went on and they chose LeBron to do the Space Jam too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm watching a lot of videos where there's always this debate about who's the greatest, and they always say it's always between MJ and LeBron, but they always say it's what you just said. Like Kobe was, I feel like the extension of Michael Jordan. And this is nothing against LeBron. LeBron is one of the greatest to ever do it, of course. But I just feel like the way Kobe plays, his drive, his killer energy, I think is very similar to how Michael Jordan was when he played.
Absolutely, and nothing to take away from LeBron. LeBron
Yeah.
is, had a long career, and he has, put himself in the position to be. He is the all-time greatest scorer. You can't take that anything away from him. He's impacted the game more ways than you can ever imagine. Um, but we just talking between the lines. Just between the lines, not the impact, just between the lines, just the skill set of a basketball player. There was no other than MJ. There was no other than MJ. And Kobe was the second coming of that. And him being able to, be that 2.0 version of MJ and being able to, have that mindset that MJ had, a killer instinct. That's what kind of separated him from a lot of guys. But LeBron is definitely one of the greatest players that ever played this game, longevity wise as well, statistic wise as well. But again, skill set, I always give it to MJ.
And championships too.
Well, yeah, championships, but that's all accolades. But I'm just talking about as a basketball player, between the lines,
Yeah.
who you afraid to face up against. And we all know MJ is coming at you as a killer. I mean, LeBron, he scored a different way how he attacks, but it's nothing the way MJ played it.
Yeah. And the last question I have for you, this is a really cool one. I have a little video as well. There's a famous video of you blocking Patrick Ewing, who is he's a 7-foot legend. This guy is like massive, and you went up against a guy like that. And I want to show the whole audience just so they could see here and yourself. All right, here we go.
Ewing with the drop step and lost it. Stripped by Bogues.
When I got a block shot on Patrick when we played them during the regular season, I let the big fella know about that one. When I got a
I think that's such an iconic moment. There's so many I could go on for days, but that must have shocked everybody seeing that, because again, you just knew it. You just knew what to do and you executed it. That was I just wanted to show that.
Oh yeah, well, I did had a 44-inch vertical, leap at once upon a time. But Pat always liked to fade on his jump shots, and I just had to be at the right place at the right time. And then once I blocked the shot, I did let him know that he'll be part of my highlight film moving forward. But that was just an instinctive moment. I mean, that's just the game of basketball, being able to help your teammates at any given moment.
That's awesome, man. Well, listen, Muggsy, honestly, thank you so much for coming on today to talk about your career, life, Space Jam, everything. You've done so many great things, and I'm going to continue to obviously follow what you're doing going forward, because you're always doing these awesome things. And just want to thank you again for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed myself. Appreciate you.
And no problem, man. Take it easy and God bless.
God bless. Have a good one.